This is Captain Nemo, and you are watching pecktec on YouTube.
Oculus, begin transmission.
When we talked to you last time, you were just working on your, you're working on everything, I think, all at the same time. And you kind of got your backpack done.
Yeah, the backpack actually all completed now.
All right.
Got it all set there.
In fact, you've got the entire suit set.
Yes, everything finally was completed. We got it done probably about a week before the kickoff of DragonCon. So we made our time crunch.
And I see that you've made a hat also, or did you get that hat?
Actually, the hat was actually done for me by a friend of mine named Jeremy Brown out of Knoxville. I wanted a hat that was kind of an homage to the German U-boat captains. So instead of Nemo wearing the blue hat all the time, I decided I wanted the white U-boat captain hat instead. And then we just did the front crest on it to make it look a little different.
So you don't have to wear that helmet all the time to be in costume?
No, I can't. No, exactly. I can throw this on. It kind of has just as good a feeling, and I don't have to be inside the helmet all the time.
Now tell me, you actually, when we talked last time, that air is pumping through the helmet. Can you tell me a little bit about how that works?
It is. There's actually a small fan in the backpack. You can see on the very top of the pack, there's a piece of metal sticking up.
That's stem, yeah.
Yeah, that's stem. It actually, on the back of my helmet, I actually have another hose that comes down that attaches in, and it brings air into two sides of my helmet. And plus, in the very top of the helmet, I've installed a fan also, so you get some good air circulation in there. It might not be ice cold air, but at least it's moving air. Plus, it gets the CO2 out of your helmet so you don't get lightheaded, which happened to me at the costume contest this year.
Oh, how did you do at the costume contest this year?
Well, we did pretty good. We made our goal, and actually, we ended up with Best Journeyman Division.
Oh, that is awesome. Best Journeyman.
Yes, which is one step below the professional level. So now, is in the eyes of DragonCon, when I compete now, I have to compete in the professional division.
Now, so that's your passage into the division, right?
Correct. You have to get your wins in each division. Like if you win in novice, then you'll move up to journeyman. If you win in journeyman, you move up to professional. And then we actually kind of lucked into one. We didn't even know about it. We went to the aquarium party at DragonCon at the Georgia Aquarium. Yeah. And they actually had a costume contest there that we went ahead and entered, and we won that one too.
Really? What did you win at the aquarium?
The aquarium was put on by one of the unfortunately I can't remember the name of their company right now, but it was one of the comic book companies, and I ended up with the bag had 3 of their limited edition busts of their figures and a limited edition book of all their artwork and a couple of signed prints were inside. So yeah, it was a nice little package.
And so that was a week ago. We're actually hanging out today where?
We were down in Lenore City at
Steampunk Connecticut.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
They've got a lot of interesting stuff. You've done a T-Duel. You know, my girl came down to see if she still got it from last weekend. She's doing okay so far.
So far, so good. She's taken on all challengers.
So, how many hours do you have in the leather work on this?
The whole entire costume, 724 hours. I don't usually keep track of it, but this time I decided to just out of curiosity. When I did the competition, what I had to write for them, at that time it said about 500 hours worth of work. Of course, I didn't realize when I turned that in, I have about another 200 after that I've added to it.
So were you in the hotel room at the last minute gluing anything?
No, I was actually, everything was done, functioning and running. I came out Friday morning, put my stuff on and wore it the rest of DragonCon. We even marched in the parade in this thing.
That's amazing.
65 pounds.
So, what did you say happened at the costume contest? You had to...
Well, at the costume contest, the fan that I had in the back for bringing air out of the backpack, I actually had a battery just die, and I just hadn't had a chance to replace it. So I was like, well, I can go with the one that I have in my helmet. That's okay. Well, when I was going to replace a battery in that one, I popped a wire off, so I lost my fan. And so I was trying to figure out why, during the contest, when I'm standing back there waiting to go online, why I was trying to get... I was starting to get a little lightheaded, and then I realized I was getting a CO2 buildup inside my helmet. So I was kind of like kept turning my head and blowing out the side ports, which I didn't put glass in for airflow reasons. So it's like eventually it cleared out and I was doing all right, but it was kind of like, why am I getting lightheaded here?
Nitrogen narcosis.
Pretty much, yes. Thank gosh I'm actually a real diver in real life, and I was able to figure out what was going on with my dive suit.
All All right, RJ, it is always great to see you. Your costume looks amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all the wins.
Thank you so much.
And you haven't just won at DragonCon and at the aquarium. What have you picked up this year?
This last year, I took Best in Show at Marble City Comic-Con here in Knoxville. I took first place in the costume contest at the Knoxville Comic Expo. I took Pro Division win at Fanboy Expo. And then we had DragonCon come up here, and we got our 2 wins at DragonCon this year. So it's been a pretty good year.
And it's not all Nemo either. You have your other persona.
Yeah, I have Dirk Astor also. DragonCon was actually the first day, first run anytime as everybody that I've ever put the whole thing on and went out in it.
Wow.
So it had been untried, and this was the first shot at it. We decided if we're going to do a huge costume like this, let's debut it at a big convention.
That's a good idea, and man, it really stood out, and that says something at DragonCon because that's a place where there's amazing costumes everywhere. It really stood out. It's a beautiful costume, and I appreciate your time, sir.
My pleasure, anytime.